Alright, here is Quasar issue 22 by Mark J and Greg Batman. Core blimey, this is a great cover, innit? Maybe the best cover in the entire series. It is the best story arc in the series too. When it comes to Mark J, everyone talks about his Justice League of America miniseries at Marvel. Everyone talks about John Walters becoming Captain America. And those are both great too. But it's this little story that should be spoken of alongside those other two. I also want to point out that it says part 4 of 7 on the cover, but it's really part 2 of 5. The issues listed as part 1 and 2 are a mostly separate two-parter with Quasar fighting Present. They are good too, but their connection to this storyline is quite minor. And these opening bits, these bolster my argument because here we have stuff related to the story arc from issue 13 to 16. We see how that was feeding into this storyline. And it is the same with that Present story. There is background stuff linking all these earlier issues to this big story. And if you are listing the Present story as parts 1 and 2, you might as well list this story we're seeing here, this 4-part story, as parts 1 through to 4 of however many part story. What happened in the previous issue, what happened in part 1, Quasar was very defeated by his arch nemesis Miles. Miles chopped off his hands to steal his magic bracelets, and now he is holding them prisoner. Question of the day, because I famously always ask one every video. Did I call this character Black Racer? I should have if I didn't. Black Racer, he appears before those who wish to die, and he puts them out of their misery. Here we pay off a little tease from all the way back in issue 2, when Black Racer said that the next time they meet, Quasar will be begging him to put him out of his misery, and Black Racer will refuse to do so. So honestly, you could go back as far as issue 2 and call that part 1 of this 24-part story. But the truth is, it is just a story that was built to really well over the course of the series. Over the course of Mark's work even. A lot of the characters in this were introduced or featured in his run on Marvel 2 for 1. Miles, Black Racer, Miles the Servant. Even Quasar had a lot of his earliest appearances in that. This is a writer paying off not just the ongoing subplots in this series, but a lot of their previous work. And this issue is a very somber issue. It is a defeated hero reflecting on how much of a failure they are, and being confronted by hallucinations. Like here we have Captain Marbles, the real one, mar-vell, who was Quasar's predecessor as saviour of the universe. We have our bad guy over here, Miles, and he is also accompanied by sexy sisters who never get a backstory. So I thought I would invent the backstory that they are not incestual. It would ruin the sexiness for me. And Miles, he has Quasar's hands, and he's trying to get the Quasar bands to work. And if you look up here, the sexy sisters are having orgasms over the magic bracelets. No wonder I like this story. Moongarden is in it too, wearing her skimpiest bathing suit ever. Captain Marbles, the real one, mar-vell, or an imagined version of him, encourages Quasar and tells him that he is not a screw-up, and that even he felt like he messed up stuff when he was saviour of the universe. And this issue really gets to the heart of Quasar as this kind of normal guy thrust into cosmic scenarios. And here is Moongarden, and she finally stops wearing a goofy wig and glasses disguise as she reveals she is in love with Quasar and wanted to get close to him ever since they met at an Avengers meeting. Moongarden was a very good selection to join the cast of this series, but too much of her time in it was spent in the wig and glasses, and when she finally ditched it, she was taken by Jim Starman for Affinity Watch. In this, Moongarden, she gets a great showing. Last issue, we had a really tense, amazing sequence with her. And the next few issues, we get to see her kick a bunch of arse. Next, on Quasar's tour of death, is his father, who died before this story arc. Actually, they say that Miles was responsible for causing him to have the heart attack that killed him. So that issue where he dies is another one you could include as a part of this if you are including that two-parter with Present. His dad is fun because his dad is not remotely spiritual. He's a very hardline atheist. And even this, be it a memory given form, or his dad actually speaking to him from beyond the grave, his dad insists here that he isn't really his dad, or his spirit, or his ghost. He is just something that resembles that. I think it was through the dad that we got Marky Mark's true feelings on religion and spirituality, but it never once overwhelmed the story. Miles, he gets the magic bracelets working, and the sisters, they need a nap after all that coming. And right here is probably the best scene in the entire series. Quasar is being tortured by one of Miles's servants, knights, who whips them. And I would read this all out, but there is too much to read here. The premise is that Quasar is screwing with the guy, and in the process making his suffering much more severe. Quasar wants to die, obviously, and he is finally greeted by Lady Death, who he sees as this goofy chibi. A lot of the websites, the appendix to the Marvel Universe, Marvel Chronology Project, the Marvel Wikia, Super Mega Monkey, they all list this as a separate entity, which is something else I disagree with. Lady Death, it is perceived as whatever its victims believe it to be, and in Quasar's case, it's this silly kids cartoon character, because Quasar is a kinda simple guy. It is worth noting that Greg Batman, his art did actually boost the sales on this series, and that is great since it meant more eyes were on this story, which was the high point. But it also must not have been enough, because now we have Ghost Driver showing up for one of his 90s guest appearances. Fucking gan and read this. Issues 21 through to 25. Great stuff, and a decidedly different side of Marky Mark J. This is like what Marky Mark could do with the Marvel Universe at his disposal. With Captain America, he could never really do a story like this, because it's too beyond Captain America's scope as a character. But with Quasar, he has the entire universe available to appear. Magnificent story, great writing, fantastic artwork. Why can't they all be like this? 7 thumbs up.